It's a lovely morning, obviously. And I don't know whether all I have here with me are from my class or if we have people from other classes. If you belong to other classes, please raise your hand. Did you hear me? Yes. We have Nuran from one of the other classes. She's either with Dr. Mohsen or Dr. Arwa. Who else? Afnan is also, and Maria. Yeah, Maria Saleh is not from our class. Obviously, she raised her hand, and for some reason she dropped it. We also have Afnan and Thauban. I don't believe that Thauban belongs to my class. Um, okay, anyway, I'm not discriminating. I just want to know, to know, of course. Okay, so what is it that we're doing this lovely morning? We're starting our this very interesting journey, children's literature, and obviously this is children's literature too. You guys did A, and I'm sure it proved a very interesting experience. Now that you're maturity here, I mean, comes with being exposed to children's literature and its different texts. Now we're taking it a bit further, and we're taking it to new heights. We're doing picture books, and I think this is something that you haven't done in EA300A. And we're going to also have two full-fledged novels in the full sense of the word that would remind us of Wuthering Heights, the Sign of Four, and all those other things. So again, so let me share with you what we normally do in master classes. In master classes, we don't do what I mean. The treatment is obviously different. We don't have all the time there is to cover every single uh, um, item and point. We leave this to the teachers, but what we do in the master class is that we highlight important points. We try to fill in gaps. We try to also answer all your questions, whether those questions are procedural, have to do with the quizzes, the format of the quizzes, I mean, even the kind of questions. And of course, we talk about the content itself. We highlight significant points. We engage you in discussions. Obviously, you wouldn't have all the time to do that in the regular class. We afford you this opportunity to talk, to voice out your opinions and even your concerns when it comes to the works. We started this lovely journey with some kind of introduction about what picture books are and what they stand for. We even spoke about the history of children's literature. And then we started talking about the first picture book, which is which is The Tale of Peter Rabbit. I'm sure you have gone that far with your teachers. I'm sure you were given some kind of introduction about what picture books are, about the history of children's literature, and now I'm sure you're in the middle of uh, we're in the middle of doing, uh, you know, the Tale of Peter Rabbit. I think you came late, yeah, Fatun. That's why you don't know that I mean, the recording facility is disabled. My camera is disabled. But that's why I cannot. By the way, I need to record it myself. I have never missed recording one of my classes, but I will make up for that by going to my archives of recorded classes, and I can give you a yeah, like a replacement. So you don't have to worry about the recording. Just focus on what I'm saying. this morning. And next time, inshallah, we will have this issue sorted out. Again, how much do we know about picture books? Or let's make it more generic. Now that you have been doing, you know, children's literature, how much do you know about children's literature? When the phrase or the term children literature is dropped, what does it conjure up and evoke at the back of your minds? Come to the mic and share. We need to make the class as interactive as we possibly can. You guys say things and I say things back. I start, I prompt, I give you a prompt and you react, you ask, and let's make it this way. Munira, go ahead.
Hello, Doctor. It's
Yeah, hi, how are
representing.
you?
Yes, it's representing for the events, for the thought in that area.
It's a what?
It's representing for the events, for the thought, for the life at that area.
Yeah,
If we are looking for the literature.
yeah, that's even more generic. Generic in the sense that yeah, everything can represent everything else. We're talking about this special area that we call children's literature. What are its peculiarities? What are its characteristics, if any? Now that we've been doing it for quite some time now. If
Uh,
somebody can come to them, yeah, go ahead, yeah.
yeah, most of them just want to have the same character, the same theme. I feel like just like it's repeating itself.
Yeah, what is repeated? Tell me about those things that get repeated.
The theme, like theme for disobedience, the theme for adventure.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Yes,
that's interesting enough. Yeah, yeah, yeah. There is a measure of adventure to them. Yeah, like Munira is saying, you normally have. Yeah, let's hear somebody else. Thank you, Munira. Joyce. Yeah.
Yes, doctor. Normally, children's literature has like some illustration or pictures associated with the texts, unlike the regular novels, to make it more interesting and to give certain kind of messages like complementary and supplementary to the text itself.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, the language should be a bit simpler than the adult stuff, but not very simplified as well.
Mm-hmm.
There are some like
Didactic.
didactic, sorry, elements, yes, to teach lessons or moral values. Like normally, these stories are not just for engagement. They should give some lessons behind it, either to give them like a moral lesson or a certain behavior, or maybe like a warning. You have to
Mm-hmm.
not to misbehave, listen to your mom, like exactly what happened in
Mm-hmm.
Peter Rabbit and stuff. Of course, it
Yeah.
has to be age appropriate,
Mm-hmm.
but mainly it's written by adults for children,
Yeah.
like mainly, yeah.
So, are you subscribing to the fact that they are simple and simplistic, meant for primarily for children and full stop?
No,
Are
of
you
course
saying
not.
this?
No,
Mm-hmm.
not to that extent. No, like some of
Mm-hmm.
them are very simple, but not extremely simple. After all,
Mm-hmm.
we're addressing kids who just started, let's say, reading and comprehending the world around them. But at the same time, they don't want to ruin the language to be very simplistic, so they don't get exposed to the kind of language that is they're supposed to be exposed to, Of course,
Mm-hmm.
they're going to use some, like, there are hidden meanings behind every word and every line they write. It's not just words on papers with some pictures. There is some, like a theme or a certain message hidden between the lines.
Yeah, this is perhaps would apply more to the early attempts at children's literature. If we talk about children's literature in the postmodern era, obviously the audience is larger, right? And wide ranging. We're not talking only about children. They don't address children. only or exclusively. And this is what we're going to see with novels like The Other Side of Truth, where the themes are profound and big and everything in between. Even your interpretation of things like Voices of in the Park, and talk about classes and class struggles and conflict, these are bigger than what meets the eye, and children and stuff. Yeah, thank you, Joyce, very much. Can we have more on that? Anybody else? Okay, let's talk about the history of children's literature. Yeah, Wissam, go ahead.
Yeah, thank you. I was gonna say it's didactic, as Joyce said, and also it's in some way it's nostalgic for the adults when they
Mhm,
read it.
mhm. Yeah,
Those are
this is
my
a very
points. Yeah.
important, yeah, that's a very interesting insight. The fact that sometimes adults, when they approach those kinds of stories, they kind of shed nostalgic tears over the the happy old days when they were children. Of course, who doesn't want to be a child again and have this kind of innocent existence, no worries, no cares, no budgets, no jobs and prospects and careers and everything in between. Yeah, it can be nostalgic for adults, and this is part of the appeal, like Wissam is saying. Yes. So where did this all start? So obviously, there were those few attempts in the 16th and the 17th century, but of course, if you still remember, children's literature was not taken very seriously. The concern and the focus was more on children written by adults and about adults and adults. I mean, look, I mean, if you go back to the 3 lovely years that you spent with us so far, all what you have done is literature written by adults and addressing adults, right? We didn't have children's literature in any of the encounters that we have. There are so many courses that you have done. All the poems were written by adults and addressing adults, or the plays were written by adults and addressing adults, and so on and so forth. As you can see, children's literature only came to its own in the mid 19th century when there was literacy, people started to read, and obviously whatever material they have was not enough. That's why they also consumed children's literature, and it started um, to kind of develop in order to also kind of address the concerns of the individuals, whether they are children or not children. And it started to have a life of its own, if you like, with the advent of the 20th century. You have trends like modernity and modernism, where obviously the mindsets became to be different, and whatever was childish and simple started to be taken more seriously. And of course, the children's literatures or literature books started to address the concerns of people, especially when we talk about the early, and like I said, the First World War and then the Second World War. Yeah, imagine that at the backdrop of a novel like Tom's Midnight Garden, you have the frustrations that the British people felt coming out of the the Second World War and what happened in it, and even the promises that the politicians made that life is going to be honey and milk after the war, which never materialized and never happened. So again, we're trying to stress the fact that the closer those children's literature books to our age, the more serious they became, and the more seriously they started to be taken by the reading public. We're doing perhaps a different type of children's literature. When we talk about children's literature, people for the most part think that we're only talking about stories, but there is this category of children's literature that has always been there and that has always been debated and discussed, which is picture books. And again, you think of it, it's picture book. So book, you know what a book is, of course. And when I say a book, of course, you understand that we're talking about somebody reading something. But we have this part, picture, which means that it's a book that also has big pictures. And perhaps what is significant about it is that pictures are as important as the words itself. You cannot really engage with the text, with the words, unless you fully analyze the pictures. And over time, those pictures and what they include started to project an image that we're talking about. I don't know who's this guy. Somebody is trying to also access the link. Yeah, but we're doing fine. I think you can hear me very well. And I think I can hear you also very well. Again, we're talking about the fact that now you cannot really separate the picture from the word. In order to fully appreciate what is being written, you have to analyze the picture. And the picture is made up of different components, different different signals and symbols and signs that started to have meaning, and people started to even come up with compile dictionaries for them. If you have a certain color, it means something. If you have a certain movement within the picture, that would mean something. If the drawings of characters are small, they mean something. If those people are drawn bigger than life, they would mean something else. And also, we said that when we talk about picture books, we even have to consider the paratextual elements. And paratextual means that you start reading and analyzing the text even before the text starts, before the words and pictures. So what do I mean by this? I mean that you even the title counts, even the biographical details about the author, even when the picture book was written and where it was published. So it's not only the text anymore, it's not only the picture, it's this harmony between the picture and the text, and also all those paratextual details that are there in the text. So obviously, children's literature came a long way, and along with it, of course, we would have picture books. Let's now go to the first representative piece of work, which is, I'm sorry, I don't know why I'm fixed on Voices in the Park for some reason. Let's go to The Tale of Peter Rabbit. I think by now you know it in and out because this is our second week. I spoke about it in my class, and I'm sure that Dr. Mohsin and Dr. Arwa spoke about it. If you have read the story, raise your hand. Those who have read the story. I'm talking about The Tale of Peter Rabbit, of course. Hmm. I can only see 3 people. Are you sure? Okay. So obviously, no, I'm sure lots of other people read the story, but for some reason they couldn't hear the question or something. That's fine. Okay, so it's very simple. But this is obviously what meets the eye because it's bigger than that and it's deeper and more profound than what meets the eye, right? I need somebody to come to the mic and in order to have everybody on board. For those who didn't have the chance to read it yet, that's fine. So somebody's going to come to the mic and give us the plot. So that when we talk about it, when we talk about the abstract level, everybody can connect the dots. But I need a volunteer. I need somebody to come to the mic and tell us all about it. Volunteer. Hello. Yeah, Munira, go ahead. So are you going to tell us the story? Let's have somebody else because we already have Munira and Wissam. Um, um, Noor, if you would like to retell the story, that's fine.
Hello, doctor.
Yeah, good morning. Hi, how are you?
Good morning, doctor. Alhamdulillah. So, Peter the rabbit, it's a rabbit that lives with his mother and 3 well-behaved siblings, Flopsy, Mopsy, and Cottontail, near Mr. McGregor's garden. Their mother warns them not to enter the garden as their father was caught and baked into a pie. So, however, Peter, being adventurous and disobedient, he sneaks out into the garden while his siblings obey their mother and gather blackberries. Inside, he eats vegetables, lettuce, French beans, and I guess parsley too, until he encounters Mr. McGregor, who chases him with a rake. Uh, then Peter panics and tries to escape, but loses his blue jacket and shoes in the process. He struggles to find his way out, hiding in a watering can. And after several close calls, he manages to slip under the garden gate and rushes home. Exhausted and sick from his adventure, Peter is put to bed with the chamomile tea, while his obedient siblings enjoy the bread and milk and the blackberries.
Yeah, yeah, that's interesting. Yeah, Wissam, you're raising your hand, and Munira too.
I'm sorry, I just wanted to add a point that
Yeah,
it shows
please.
that Peter is a rebellious character. He didn't obey his mother's instruction, even though
Hmm.
that um, he, I think he was alive when his dad is killed.
Yeah, yeah, what you're saying is correct. We're going to talk about this level, this symbolic level, what the actions mean and everything. Yeah. Thank you so much, Wissam, for that. Munira, you were raising your hand. Would you like to say something?
Yes, doctor. In the end
Yeah.
of the story, we feel sympathetic about Peter, and also we see that the mother she didn't punish him for disobedience.
We're talking about this disputed, ending. People are polarized over what it means. Are we going to consider the ending in favor of Peter? Is Peter rewarded, or is he having this chamomile tea while his sisters are eating something perhaps more sweeter and more smoother? Is some kind of punishment. So we'll talk about the ending in a minute. Thank you, Munira, for raising this point. Thank you so much. So this is obviously the story in its bare minimum narrative, where the skeleton is very clear and very straightforward, and it's more or less typical of children's literature stories. We have that. If people have read Peter Hunt's essay or article on how similar children's books are and how different they are, I think you would feel it. That whenever we talk about children's literature, you have this element of adventure to them. You normally have a male, a boy, who embarks on an adventure, and he undergoes some kind of change. Of course, change for the better, because this is some kind of initiation. Initiation means that when you meet him at the end, he's different. He has gained insights into life. He has gained experiences, and he is never the same. Whether that would apply to Peter is perhaps something that we can always talk about and discuss.
تمام عندي محاضرة.
So again, this is the storyline, and it's not, like I said, it's not different from the so many children's books that we have read over the years. What is going to be different, perhaps, would be two things. The first thing is that how important the images, the pictures are in reinforcing the messages that the writer is trying to get across to us. And also this symbolic level as what Peter means, and what he stands for, and all those issues. What does he symbolize, and those all this abstract level of interpretation that we will engage in. So perhaps let's focus at the beginning on the pictures and how those pictures help us understand the text, how the pictures inform the experience of reading the text. Let me ask those who have read also the picture book, and whether they focused more on the text. And I don't blame them if they have done that, because we're so trained and we're so used to focusing on the text to the total neglect of pictures, because we have always been made to believe that pictures are there for decorative purposes. This is not happening anymore with picture books, because again, pictures are as important as the text. Sometimes they are even more important. The text can stay silent on a lot of issues, and it's only when you go and look at the picture that you understand things more. So how did you do it? Did you focus more on the text, or you also considered the pictures? I'm talking about your experiences. And I said I don't blame you if you focused on the text until you start to realize that the pictures are as important. Yeah, raise your hands if you would like to share that with us. So you're by being silent, you're implying that you give equal weight to both. Wissam, go ahead.
Yes, I actually admired the pictures more than the story itself because personally I like the watercolor pictures.
You
Because
yourself,
it's
yeah. Do you draw
yeah,
sometimes, Sam?
yeah, of course,
Yeah, that's interesting. Yeah,
yeah,
I don't draw, yeah, sometimes people we're not all what painters and drawers, but that's why I'm asking. You yourself draw, right?
yeah.
And paint. Nice, very good. So that's why you found uh, yeah.
Pictures more admirable. Yeah,
Uh-huh. Like, and I'll talk to you from the viewpoint of somebody who draws. And obviously, I don't draw myself. I wouldn't be able to appreciate it as much. So, from your own experience, and if you have passion for drawing, and you yourself draw, give us
yes,
an assessment of the drawings of Beatrice Potter. What do you think?
yeah. I thought of it as it has a childish, of course, point of view,
Mm,
but it also has a sense of realistic,
mm,
like the bushes, how she drew it. I think the shed and the Mick garden.
mm,
She illustrates also, I think, the atmosphere, like
mm,
how Peter was tired. She captures how his mother was looking at him
mm,
while he was lying on the floor.
mm. You mean she did succeed in capturing all those
Absolutely, yeah.
emotions and feelings and atmospheres?
Yes,
If you
absolutely.
compare her to other, and I'm sure you have also read other texts, and they happen to have also pictures. Do you think, I mean, choosing her and not somebody else in a curriculum like ours, do you think she deserves that?
Well, over the voices in the park, which I read,
Hmm.
I
Hmm.
would very much choose her over this voices in the. I don't
Hmm.
like the pictures and the voices in the park at
Hmm.
all.
Uh-huh. They
Yeah.
were not as elaborate, perhaps. They're
No,
not.
no,
Uh-huh.
no. It's not. It's not that. It wasn't enjoyable, especially
Mhm.
with monkeys.
Uh,
Yeah.
you mean how monkeys were drawn, or you have this repulsion for monkeys, or what?
Yes, I don't like monkeys.
Okay, fine. But you like rabbits, I assume.
Absolutely. Who doesn't actually?
Okay. طيب, thank you, Wissam. Thank you so much. Joyce?
Yes, doctor.
Mm,
Concerning your question concerning which one I like the most, actually both, but the pictures were extremely like happy, taking into consideration the colors used as well, because we're talking about a children book. So the colors play a very important role here, especially if they are happy, if they're scared or something, that is
mm,
reflected in the colors as well. Like in the beginning, the yellow color, the blue color, even like from the pictures themselves, we can actually like infer many things. Like we know Peter, this is Peter because he was wearing the blue jacket. We know that he's a bit disobedient to his mom because he was turning his back to her while she was advising them not to go here and there. So yeah, the pictures actually were really enjoyable because this is the first thing you actually look at before even you look at the text itself. So
mm.
I feel that both of them are important, but the pictures played a very important role in
Yeah.
making the experience enjoyable.
Yeah, and also the gaps. You, and I think Wissam spoke about the idea that sometimes you have gaps in the text, and it's only when you go and look at the picture that you fill in the
Definitely,
gaps
definitely,
and
yes,
understand things more. Yeah,
yes.
good. Very good. So, okay. Thank you, Joyce. Let's have somebody else sharing the experience with the pictures more. Okay, we're يعني 18 يا جماعة. Where are you? Let me get this.
Yes, okay. Not it. Oh, here. Not
Okay. طيب. Let's talk about the whole experience. Let's move on the perhaps the symbolic and the abstract level. What do you make of the character of Peter? What do you make of his sisters? What do you make of how they are presented on the page? Did you feel that? I don't know. Is it breaking the mold in terms of presenting something different that we're used to in picture books, or is it traditional? And I don't want to reveal what traditional means and what is breaking the mold means. Let me hear from you, and then I'll talk about it. So, what do you think? Is it a traditional piece of work where gender roles are honored and replicated? Males are in a certain category and females are in a certain category. I don't want to spoil it. I would like you to come and talk about it. Let's talk about the symbolic level. Does it entrench stereotypes about girls and women? Does it give us something different? Does it defy our expectations of those kinds of novels and those kinds of picture books? Yeah, Munira.
Yes, doctor. I think it's traditional in some way, because we are
Mhm,
expecting from the boys to be disobedient, looking for adventure. This
mhm,
one against the girl should be what the name domestic and following the
mhm,
order. And also from the clothes
mhm.
from the mother, we see just like it's certain area, like Victorian or
Yeah.
like this.
Yeah. So what you're trying to say, Munira, is that it's very traditional in its treatment of the characters.
Yes,
You
especially for
have
the boys and
uh,
for the girls.
yeah, yeah. The boy is presented a typical boy who embarks on adventures, who is allowed this limited space to say no. Uh, yeah, I think households have that kind of treatment where it's no, I don't know whether this is happening anymore or not, because in my household, I don't have this preferential treatment for my boy, for example. I have a son and two daughters, and they are all equal, obviously, in the treatment. I don't know whether this happens elsewhere or not, but we grew up to have this kind of preferential treatment for the boys. According to Munira and others, I think this is also what we are seeing. We see a boy who is disobedient. His siblings, his female siblings, follow whatever their mothers say. They are silent most of the time. They are non-assertive. While the boy embarks on an adventure, he goes against even the dictates of the mom. And even when she told them that it would be very dangerous if you go to the farm of Mr. McGruger, and she gave him the example of his father, he didn't. relent, he insisted. And this is obviously typical in children's literature, where they were obviously written from the perspective of males. Uh, Gender roles and traditional principles of gender roles are being upheld and are being maintained, except for the mother, because the mother is presented as a single mother whose husband got killed for some reason, and she had to shoulder the responsibility of the entire family. And this is obviously something that you wouldn't associate with women in the Victorian age. So the mother can be different. The mother is obviously reversing gender roles, but everybody else, including Peter, are upholding the principles of gender, how genders are presented, where males are all in all, are given prominence, are given the status of heroes, heroes in titles and also in deeds. While female children are marginalized, are relegated to the background. Do you agree with this interpretation? Let me hear what you have to say about that.
Yes, I do agree that the social norms and the gender role of that period is reflected throughout the story.
Yeah. So it's a typical traditional children's book where women are relegated to the background and where men and boys are foregrounded, are highlighted and given prominence, right? Yeah.
Yes, absolutely.
Yes. Yeah. This is an aspect of it. Um, let's also talk about um, the character of Peter, and obviously he's not very obedient. Saying obviously he didn't say no to his mom in her face, but it's all the same rebellion. Would you consider this what he did was triggered by a feeling, a sense of rebellion that he has within his nature and character, or is it curiosity that children normally have and that can lead them and cause trouble for them? Is it, are we reading much into it if we say, are we exaggerating it if we say that this is that he is rebellious, and you can compare him with rebellious figures down through the ages and literature? Are we taking it to extremes if we explain it this way? uh, um, and he is simply a curious child that can embark or can land into trouble because of his curiosity. How? What do you think? Yeah. Okay. Obviously, we have only Wissam and Joyce, and sometimes Noor and Munira when we have 19 people. So come to the mic and share. Now, we're not taxing or judging, like I always say. Yani, come and speak. Yeah, go ahead, yeah, Joyce.
I'm sorry. Can you repeat it, please?
Repeat what?
The question
Yeah.
that you raised.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
Right. Yeah,
Thank
that's
you.
fine. I'm saying that when it comes to the character of Peter and what he stands for, people and critics are polarized. Some people believe that he has a sense of rebellion within his character and nature, and that uh, prompted him to resist his mom and to go against her dictates and orders. And in this case, because he's rebellious, you can always link him up with figures of rebellion down through the ages and in history. Some other people say that if you explain it and interpret it this way, this is a bit of a stretch. This is an exaggeration. There is nothing rebellious about what this boy did. He is only a curious child, and obviously children are all curious, and it can land them in trouble. That's what it is, pure and simple. Okay, Joyce.
Yes, doctor. Of course, we can interpret it in different ways. Like, if we want to say he's rebellious, we can find some evidence for that. And if we're just saying he's just a kid, we can also find evidence for
Yeah,
that. But
yeah,
from my
Joyce.
opinion,
Ah, yeah, this
yeah,
is what I'm after, your
yes,
opinion.
my opinion, I think he's just a child that is curious, especially he's a boy, and boys normally are very curious because we have siblings and we have, family members who are very young and rebellious as well and adventurous. It's like in their nature to go to explore the world, to be curious about the world and stuff. But also, even from his behavior, like at the beginning, he did not listen to his mom. He went there and he came face to face with the farmer and he started to run away. He panicked. He didn't know what to do, even when he got caught. And he thought it's his end. He started crying. Like, if he was a bit rebellious, he won't cry in this way, you know? And
Yeah.
also, his behavior changed when he ran away from the farmer and then he saw him and he saw the gate. He started walking slowly. He started to think about his steps and how to get away from the farmer. Even he did not ask for any help from the cat as well because he knew cats can actually eat them or attack him and stuff like that.
Mm.
So I think he's just a curious child. That's from my
Yeah.
opinion, I
So
think. Yeah,
yeah, that's a very good interpretation. The fact that there is evidence that corroborate the fact that there is nothing heroic about about his nature. About he's just a
definitely.
child. Yeah. Yes. And he didn't mean it. If he had known that that would have happened to him, he wouldn't have done it in the first place. Let's have Wissam on board and see what she has to say about that.
Well, I think that Peter would not have gone into McRoger Garden if his mom didn't want him. I think it's because he's stubborn. When his mom told him that not to go, and she emphasized on it, he was curious to explore what's inside. But we can see the regret that he regret his decision when he caught up in the net and
Yeah,
he
you're
stopped
trying to
running.
also say that there is nothing heroic about what he did. There is
Yes, because
nothing
he.
revolutionary and rebellious and all those big words, right?
Yeah, sure, but we
Mm,
can say that he understood the hazards that his mom
mm,
was warning him about.
mm. Yeah, you mean he typical of male children in children's literature. He learned his lesson. He knew that
Yes,
curiosity can cost him a lot, right? And yeah, yeah, that's interesting. But you don't subscribe to the fact that he was very heroic, he was very revolutionary, and you wouldn't compare him to figures in literature. I mean, people went to extremes comparing him to Adam and Eve and their rebelliousness at the beginning. Would compare him to even Satan, the biggest of all big rebellious characters in history. Yeah, so actually, and this is according to Wissam and Joyce, this is overdoing it, right? Well, it's a bit of a stretch to talk about him in those very revolutionary and heroic terms. Am I reading you right, yeah, Wissam and Joyce? Can you guys hear me,
Sorry,
everyone?
Doctor. Sorry, Doctor. I think you were talking to me, but I was in the elevator. I didn't hear
Yeah,
you.
that's fine. That's fine. طيب, let's go to Munira.
Hello, Doctor. But I think
Yeah.
also this kind of adventure, it maybe could cost him his life. Because already he know what went in the fate for his father. Going like this, risking with his life, I feel this one also a bit dangerous.
Mm. What are you trying to say?
Uh, the curiosity for Peter, this one might cost him his life because already he know the fate with his father. For going there for Mr. McGregor, from the first beginning knowing this one, he's risking his life. I think it's not a kind of adventure. I will agree with him to be approved.
You're trying to say that there is more than just curiosity
I
in
think
his deeds and
kind
his
of foolish.
actions.
Yes, kind of foolish
Mm.
action.
Yeah. Perhaps I wouldn't call it foolish because children would feel annoyed if I'll replace it with recklessness. He was reckless, متهور,
Uh-huh.
when we don't describe drivers as foolish. We don't say if we have drivers who are crazy, right?
Yes.
We don't say that they are foolish. We say that they are reckless. So I think Peter was reckless. He knew the dangers in and out, but he insisted, and this is obviously a recklessness. Again, we are. It seems that we're all agreed on the fact that there was nothing heroic about what he did. We're talking about a child who follows, who is driven by his curiosity. And children are like this, whether they are males or females. But perhaps in children's literature, males are given prominence when it comes to, yeah, in the sense of curiosity and wanting to know beyond what meets the eye. That's interesting thoughts and ideas. Um, Again, let's focus more on the girls. Let's focus on the female characters. Let's focus on the three uh, what sisters. And again, we said that they are non-assertive. We don't hear much of or about or even from them. They are relegated to the background. They project an opposing image and picture of Peter, and they are whatever Peter is not. Peter is daring, is curious, has this sense of adventure to his character, but they are presented as meek, as docile, as non-assertive. They almost did nothing beyond obeying their mom and everything. So, is this how you read the characters of the sisters? I'm asking you.
Yes, they were the exact contrast to
Yeah,
Peter.
yeah, yes. And this is obviously very unfair, if you ask me, right? If this is the stereotypical image of women, of girls, and in a classic like this one, The Tale of Peter Rabbit is obviously a classic and it's all over the place. Obviously, this is doing girls and women injustice. Was it meant by the author? The author is a woman herself. Does she subscribe to those stereotypes about women? Yeah, this is a question that we need to ask. Joyce.
No,
Yeah,
I don't
no,
think
go ahead.
that she specifically, sorry, I don't think she specifically subscribed to the idea that women should be passive in the story. But it's what she was known for for her whole life, actually.
Yeah,
Because yeah,
but couldn't she break the mold and say something or portray something different, say something different, uh, portray them in a different way?
maybe she
So,
could, but she was invested more in telling the tale of Peter.
so how different is she then? Obviously, she's not different from the other stories. Uh, and why would we make her and her picture book a classic if she is telling us what all the other picture books are telling us, all the other children's literature books are telling us, right? I wonder from where she got the reputation and the popularity, and now the Tale of Peter Rabbit is a household name. It's all over the place, right? It's a classic. Well, let's have Joyce on board, unless she is still in the elevator.
No, I'm here, doctor. Yeah. Concerning, I think, yeah, she abide by the how do you call it, the rules, the traditions of her
So is
era.
this good? My question is this good, yeah, Joyce?
After all, she is a female author. She had some restrictions, no matter how much she wanted to actually get out of the ordinary. Okay,
Mm,
but she has to stick to certain extent to certain stuff, or maybe they were gonna reject her work and stuff. Especially like she did not intend in the beginning to write the story for the audience. She actually wrote it for her friend's son. So
mm,
the audience was actually a son. So of course
mm.
she's going to focus more on the boy more than the girls.
Yeah, you mean she was trying to satisfy? I mean, he's obviously a child, and
Yes, definitely.
children. I mean, a very small child that wouldn't understand
The
uh,
difference and the
the
stuff about
yeah
the gender
yeah
role. Yeah.
yeah. If she was trying to appease him as a child, I think she was mistaken because he wouldn't kind of get to understand the messages that she was trying to send to him,
Yes, definitely.
assuming that she was sending messages, of course, right?
Yes, definitely.
Yeah, it's a little bit complicated. My question is, or my bigger question would be about the popularity. If you're doing what everybody else is doing, is it because of the drawings? Perhaps Wissam can help us with this. Are the drawings that unique, that unparalleled? That's why she has the reputation that she has. Wissam, because
Well, I
I'm
wouldn't know
asking.
because
I'm asking
I thought
Wissam
it.
because is Wissam draws. Who else draws in class? Who also paints and draws? Let me ask everyone. Yeah, Joyce, you also draw?
Yes, doctor.
MashaAllah. So what is it that you don't do, ya Joyce? MashaAllah. Hmm? فعلا فعلا I'm so proud of you طبعا وسام and everybody else. ما شاء الله. So I'm talking to
Thank you,
you,
doctor.
yeah, from this perspective. I'm talking to you because you said that you paint and draw. So you know better than I do. So is part of the appeal and the popularity of uh, um, this writer, is it part of it, her her drawings are different, unparalleled, one of a kind? Tell me about that. Yeah, go ahead, Joyce.
Yeah, doctor. I think at that time people did not care about drawing a lot, and they cared about the like financial aspects of publishing stories, and they cared about also printing pictures in the minimal way and with black and white. But for her to actually to take them. She used to draw with like black and white at the beginning, but then added these colors. Actually, it's out of the ordinary for that time because at that time, as I told you, it was just black and white. So giving it colors, giving it life, like bringing the pictures into life as well. that's a different aspect as well.
Mm. Yeah, you didn't convince me, but that's fine. Okay. So do you have other takes on that? If you guys would like to come in and perhaps join the conversation on the popularity and the appeal of Beatrice, if she's doing what everybody else is doing, I mean, drawing, boys who are daring and drawing girls who are non-assertive and silent for the most part. Yeah, think about it, and perhaps if you would like to kind of develop that into an article or an essay that you would like to share with me, I would be more than happy to see that. Um, what else? Obviously, the novel is, or the picture book is full of ideas that we can engage in. But again, we're not recording the class, and the recording is very important in master classes. And lots of the facilities of Teams are being disabled for some reason. So I'm going to stop on this note and with this item, and I'll meet you again next week. And when we meet next week, we will do two things. We're going to talk more about the tale of Peter Rabbit. I'll allow everybody else to, those who haven't read the picture book, to read it, to read also the articles about it, especially. And I would like, I'm inviting you to read Peter Hunt's article. It's very important. It's going to give you insights into how picture books are written, how different they are, and how similar they are too. I would like you to read this. And you will have started Voices in the Park, I think. But I would like you to also go out of your ways and start reading Voices in the Park. It wouldn't take much time. And then we're going to start to make those comparisons between the two, Voices in the Park and The Tale of Peter. So we have, if you guys have questions, come to the mic. I think I announced on LMS. I announced the date of the quiz, the first quiz, and I said it's going to be week 4, and I think week 4 would be too soon. With the consultation with my other colleagues, we decided to kind of make it the week after. So it's going to be week 5, inshallah, and I'll reschedule it, and I'll also put it on the LMS. So the quiz is not week 4 as it was written, as it was sent and posted. I'll change it to week 5, inshallah. So that it can include Voices in the Park. What else did I want to share with you? This is basically it. Yeah, Wissam, go ahead.
I tried to find the study materials in the LMS, but it's not accessible. Could you send it, please, via WhatsApp?
Yeah, I will.
Thank you so much. I will appreciate it. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. طيب يا جماعة. On this note and with this item, we come to the end of today's class or master class, and I'll see you next week, inshallah. Assalamu alaikum.